Good morning. This is perfect. Okay. Oh, what's up, everybody? Big Mike. Let's do a little bit of chill drawing. And then let's get the hell out of here. Right? Are we all in on this? What do you guys want to see? Anyone have any requests? Let's do... Let's see what we got. This is the page we ripped through last time. Nice. Dude, the stream is working. Okay. It's on quite a bit of delay, which is interesting. I'm trying out a whole new software, guys, and it's really starting to work. Let's do some bogus BS, pal. Actually, you know what? I want to test something quick. What's up, Crow? Wait, check this out, Crow. Your text might appear on screen in a much cooler way now. Are you ready? Whoa! Look at that. You see that? Is that pretty awesome for you? Dude. Here, wait, what happens if you type something really long? Holy moly, that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna do... Dude, this took hours. Okay, if I type something super long, what does that look like? Is that a Mickey DS hash brown? What? What are we talking about? Here, wait, let me show you. This is what we drew the other day. While I'm talking to my other chat quick. Dude, that looks great. Holy smoke show, Crow. That's perfect. It took hours. It took so long because the software is so janky. And top left, Mickey DS. Oh yes, the McDonald's fry hand. It's my my hack to drawing hands. Damn, that's awesome. Thank you so much, dude. Crow, what's up? How you been? We're gonna do a quick one, maybe like 30-40 minutes. We'll just chill, and then we're gonna get on with our days. A nice morning draw sesh. We also did a Triceratops the other day, and we did some more faces. I did a whole technique and understanding shape and everything, and then this guy was really fun to draw. But yeah, let's just do some random chill guy stuff. Now put the Twitch chat so I can bully him too. It is. It will be. But guess what? The most fun part about that is we don't get Twitch chatters. We get like one person will pop in, say, hey. They'll stick around for 5 minutes and then they'll dip, which is great. It's very nice, but you know, I'm trying out a whole bunch of new stuff. Well, actually, I'm gonna put this there. We'll see how that works. That's true, I know. Is that Luigi? It could be. Mangione? Chilling with my dog while I wait for my brother to hop on Baldur's Gate? Dude, that is a good morning. Okay. What should we draw? Can I suggest something to draw? Duh. What do you got? Is it going to be a crow? Also, double check. Is the mic good or is the mic the bad one? Perfect way to pass the time. Dude, we're ripping. We're just starting. Slow morning. Just woke up. Might take a little bit might take a little bit of time for me to start saying something crazy like bouncing on it. The mic is good. Thank you very much. Coffee sip for power. Dude. We've been speedrunning Minecraft on stream after we draw. And it's going horribly, horribly, horribly well. It's not. It's really, really bad. Draw Balenciaga Rex. Alright, let's look up this Balenciaga Rex. You misspelled it the other day. I was thinking, because I'm like pretty solid. I'm usually pretty solid at reading. That's sort of a thing that I'm good at. And, oh, the shoe bill. Dude. Hell yeah. Let's draw a shoe bill. I like to pride myself on the ability to read. And that message you sent the other day was like, damn, I don't actually think I know how to read. So, I'm glad that this one makes more sense. I also love calling it the Balenciaga Rex. Oh, thanks for sharing the live. That's so nice. Okay. So, the shoe bill crane. Dude. This guy is awesome. The audio, the sounds coming out of this guy when they chatter is so nuts. Okay. Let's do, guess what, everybody? Guess what simple shape we're starting with for this animal that we've always done, that we always talk about. Look at this cute little guy. Oh my gosh. I'm showing TikTok. I like saying the true name, like the nerdy way. Dude, it is cool. It is powerful. It's like, it sounds kind of like a magical spell. Like an abracadabra. We're starting with a circle, everybody. Guess what? Every single drawing you ever do starts with a circle. And I'll die by that. I'll get up on the cross for that. Okay. Start with a circle. This is going to be our root node. This is going to be what we're working with, the whole drawing. This is going to be the head, right? And the shoe bill is pretty interesting because most of its head is kind of compact, right? So what we have is we have this big honkin' head, and then its neck comes right out of it, sort of like anything, but the neck is thick. So thick, it's like almost the same exact width as the head, and the head sits back on its haunches a little bit, so the beak basically just takes up most of the neck and into the head. So I'm going to throw in a big oval for where I think the beak is going to go. And we can soften that transition period with another oval, just slowly getting that shape in, keeping that head circle ripping, keeping that neck rectangle ripping about the same. And then that can go into wherever that body ends up being. We're not drawing the body today. I refuse. Oh, what's up, Taka? Takaba draws? Is that right? I like Taka. Who is you? Dude, Taka's new. Brand new. We're drawing a Balenciaga Rex. Okay. So, as we start with a circle, dogs are barking outside. That's the best thing about the city I live in, is every single dog barks. So, with this circle, with this head, I'm feeling fairly good about all of this setup. Let's start doing some foundational lines. So, because this thing is facing directly to the left, this midline is actually going to be just the furthest outline, right? So we have to really think about quarters. We have to think about, you know, even though this is the midline of the head, none of the detail is really going to sit in there because it's so turned sideways, right? So we can just throw in these halfway breakpoints just as little indications to me, but they're really not going to help us too much. What's really going to help us is taking this half that we just split and splitting this in half as well. So basically quartering this half of the circle. And what this is going to do is it's going to give us at least a rough approximation of where that eye is going to be. So I think I'm going to throw it about here. So I'm just going to throw in a very lightly shaded circle just there, and that's just going to act as basically, how's it going? Quite early this stream. Oh wait, Assassin. Oh, Assassin Doggo's in here too. And 574. Holy smokes. Nice hand anatomy. Oh, thank you. My name is right there blindly. What's up, Assassin Doggo? How is everyone doing? Yeah, we're doing, for the hand drawings, we always like to start with a McDonald's fry cup, and that basically sets up all the proportions correctly, which is insane. It's kind of like a very fun hack, but if you can draw this shape, you can draw basically any hand, and then you can just modify this to be whatever you want. But now we're drawing a big shoe bill. So we have a rough approximation of the eye, right? We still have a rough approximation of the head. We have this rough approximation of the beak, which we started as 2 ovals, but now I'm going to slowly refine that far edge into more of like a square rectangle type beat, right? And I'm just following these outlines that I just did of those very simple shapes. I'm just following the outlines and slowly refining as I go. And what this does is, as we sort of dance around all of these little details and all of these little markings, we slowly get more and more information for our eyes and brains to figure out how to get this drawing correct. Only 2K subs, you deserve more? Dude, thank you so much. That's very, very nice. You're trying to build an EMP gun? Like in real life? Bro's glazing so bad. That's fine. Crow. But true, thank you very much. Glazing is okay for us. We are small but mighty. We are. Also, 574. Check this out. Everyone on TikTok, relax. Oh, Art by Tiffany. How's it going? That's one of the hardest things to draw. Which? Hands or the shoe bill? We did a ton of this on stream, 574. Guys, relax. I'm marketing. We did this drawing on stream the other day. We try and grind through whatever we can with a little bit of tutorial and a little bit of education. We also did this page. Dude, Triceratops, bangin'. I was really proud of this one. Not finished, but like close enough. That's like a 99% drawing. The only thing that's left is like really getting hard detail. They'd be looking nice on God. Dude, thank you very much. Hopefully the shoe build turns out nice as well. Hands, dude, I know. Hands take an incredibly long time to master, and I'm still like not even really there, but this method gets you an approximation really quick. What's up, Assassin Doggo? You're also in Twitch chat. Check it out. You can see them both on screen now, which I think is breaking the rules, but we won't tell anyone. That McDonald's fry cup method led me to drawing these 2 hands as well. I started with little boxes and slowly added more and more little boxes, and then you just outline, and you're pretty much right as rain, which is sweet. Seen so many people come in my shop, and I have to fix them. Whoa! You fix art? Assassin. We're drawing a shoe bill. Keep it up, lad. Gonna draw along because I got nothing to do. Dude, that's perfect. That's all I ever ask. Okay. So, we have rough, simple shape for head. We have rough, simple shape for beak. We have rough, simple shape for neck. And then we can just cascade into the body, right? Now, what we can do is really start taking advantage of some of these breakpoints and some of these foundational lines. This eye, already, I'm thinking it's probably a little bit too high, so I'm just going to double down and add a little bit more of an approximation of where I think that's going to be, and maybe even erase just a little bit of this top edge. And again, like this whole setup, this whole process of doing all of the simple shapes first, we want to erase whenever we can. We want to like slowly refine and keep it going. Assassin, don't leave me with the number guy. Come back. Assassin's in here. He's just in the Twitch chat. You can see him on screen, Crow. He's talking to you. But with all of this outlined, since this is like actually kind of a very simple creature, we can basically just take all of these simple shapes and really start focusing on the outlines. The next stage, whenever you're drawing, and you get to this point where you've gotten all of the simple shapes down, or at least it feels like the simple shapes, you're basically just slowly refining and cutting into and taking away and like sculpting these shapes into what your actual drawing is going to be. So because this thing has a cheek and a head and like a scalp sort of section and their feathers fly through, I'm just slowly adding more and more simple shapes on top, and that's going to give me a better understanding of where my outlines are going to be. Once you get an outline going, like once you can get this dark outline around the shape, then you know every single detail needs to be inside that outline, and it becomes way easier. Bro's complaining too much. You're gonna change your name. Alright, as we go. Crow, remember what we talked about. We're gonna be nice to 574. So, with all of these shapes, let's start taking some creative liberties and finding this outline. Let's start cutting this outline out of this shape. So I'm going to slightly darken or slightly add more pressure to my pencil, and I'm going to slowly try and find the clean line from all of these sort of practice lines. And we're going to come down into the beak. Again, I'm taking this very slow. I'm not adding too much color, but just enough to try and get these details rocking. So I know that his beak has a point that's separated from the bottom beak, and then I know that it curves way up almost to the eye. So I'm going to put a little mark there. That's my guiding line, and I'm going to throw just another dark swooshy line through there. You see how I'm just slowly cutting through all of those simple shapes? And these guys look like they're kind of always smiling, which is very fun. But this bottom jaw also comes up and sits about in the middle of the neck. So we're just slowly, you see how I took that big oval and I just cut in here, added a little bit of flair here, and I'm just following along all of these big simple shapes, right? Leo the Boneless arguing in YouTube chat is wild. It is. Persona, what are we talking about, Crow? Miss Hyven, whoa! Weird to see my face? It is kind of strange. Welcome to Twitch chat, bro. I'm not even arguing, that's just how I type. True, that is something we all have to we all have to remember. Crow Crow just likes to have opinions. And it's not always antagonistic. And now with all of this jaw stuff, remember when we set up these other big simple shapes? I'm just going to kind of continue to following along and refining some of these shapes. So this beak has a hard line cut from, you know, shell or beak or hard. I don't even really know what to call beaks. Like, are they bone? I should do some research on that. Is it bone or is it like just calcified? What is it, like a fingernail? Is it just protein? We'll never know. But you can see I'm slowly just adding a rough, harder line, a harder outline to all of these simple shapes that we can then refine down every step of the way. And the more we refine, the more we figure things out, the more we listen to the drawing, the better it's going to be. Everything can be refined. Basically, you're refining a drawing all the way until the very last step. You never want to jump into hard detail immediately. That's like a recipe for disaster with a lot of drawings. And the reason is you'll get to this point, and I used to do this all the time, where you'll draw and you'll sort of rush the end product, and then you make a big mistake, but you're drawing pretty heavily. You're drawing with like dark ink or dark pencil or whatever. And then that mistake is just like magnified to the max because you can't really erase it and you can't really do anything with it. So then the drawing ends up looking strange and you get frustrated and you quit the drawing. But with this whole setup of taking it very slowly and really figuring out which lines are important and which ones aren't, what shapes are important to convey, what curves are important, as you move along, the drawing takes a lot longer, but you end up with like a really great drawing versus a horribly frustrating mess. So you see how I'm just slowly outlining and finding the curves that I really want to, and already this drawing starts to look like a bird. We're seeing a big fat honkin' bird. Must eradicate the competition. Oh no, assassin. Google says it made of keratin. Okay, that makes sense. So it's just like fingernails and calcified hair almost. Keratin. I don't know if I said keratin. You gotta go, assassin? That's alright. Build nests. Crow, what do you do in your free time? Crow does. Crow's consistently building little nests around the city. Thank you for doing this. Makes me want to go pick up my sketchbook and just draw for fun again. Dude, you should. Drawing is sweet. It sounds stupid to say. Hey, I'll be the first to say it sounds it sounds strange. But like drawing should be fun. This is like a vibe out, zen out hobby. And I think the world has started taking it much too seriously. If you're drawing and you're consistently getting angry and frustrated by it, like take a break. Get off the paper and realize that this is like a fun hobby to do. This is something we like to do. And then retry. No, this is mad fun. You're chill, lad. Dude! Oh wait, you're talking to Crow, not me. Damn. But that's sick. Okay, so looking at all of this, these outlines are starting to be pretty solid. We can just continue refining and having fun. Let's try and fix this eye. Let's try and figure out where this eye is going to go. So we had this rough approximation, and I think I even want to move it up a little bit. So let's do a better, more defined circle here. And let's take a step back and see if that looks good proportionally. I'm thinking, yeah, it does. But not all creatures just have big beady eyes like that. There's expression, there's some depth to it. So let's add a little bit of an eyebrow ridge. And let's add a little indication that this goes into some fur overlap or some feather overlap. And let's give a little bit of definition around it, sort of muddy things up. Sometimes also, if you're ever drawing and things look weird and out of place, something I like to do is just muddy it up a little bit. So I'm just adding some shading and some gray wash, just like just pencil. I'm just like stroking my pencil around and adding a little bit of depth and color around this thing to sort of muddy it up and make it look like it's way more intentional than it is. And that usually makes whatever drawing you're doing much better. Pem blocks, what am I drawing? A shoe bill. A Balenciaga Rex, as they call it, or as I call it. New guy inbound, exactly. We love a new guy. Pem, we just draw and we do little tutorials here and there. So let's just keep refining. I think this bill probably is a little bit too sharp, so let's just close that off a little bit and let's erase that top line. We don't want this guy to look too crazy, and then because we took that out, let's refine this edge, this top edge of his head. We want it to extend just a little bit past that beak. There are not really much for straight outlines in the real world. So when you're drawing realistic, a lot of times you'll see things overlap each other. There's depth in everything. There is sort of a layering process on everything that you draw. So we're slowly getting to a place that is very comfortable. We're slowly seeing this drawing sort of come to life a little bit. So now we can just sort of start thickening things up, adding little bits of detail everywhere, just to give our brains more information to then refine and figure out and fix later. So that muddying up technique that I was talking about earlier, this is sort of where this method really helps, because not only does it give a little bit of depth to this whole drawing, but it's also showing us, the artist, like where things need the most work. Sometimes the more lines on a drawing, the better, especially when you're not even close to that sort of refine and finish phase. So we have this solid back of the head. I really like this line. I really like the neckline into the back of the head. He has some nice fun feathers fluttering out the back of his head. He has little indications of notches around this beak, like where it meets from beak to feather. So I'm just going to start throwing in little indications of that with my pencil. We can even muddy up this sort of top edge to make it feel more realistic. We can continue to muddy up this eye a little bit. Maybe we darken up some of these far edges. Whoa. Look at that. Just a little bit of darkness in there changed that whole eye structure completely. And we still want his eyebrow to sort of be weirdly intense, so I'm going to darken up that just a little bit. And then we can have this line jut way out. Look at that! That eye is starting to pop! That eye is starting to pop its thang! Can't blame you, it's entertaining. I've been watching this man for 9 months now. Dude, that is crazy, Crow. Crow is a true sub. You were the lone survivor yesterday for 2 hours? Yeah. Dude, we drew so much we got bored and started speedrunning Minecraft, and Crow just hung around. It was him and I versus the world. It's entertaining. Thank you, Leo. Also, Leo, how boneless are we talking? How boneless are you? Okay. Dude, you know what I think? I think we should finalize this eye. We've gotten to the point in this drawing. Let me see if there's anything. Oh, Tiffany says it's relaxing. I'm too much of a perfectionist sometimes. Dude, that's the thing. That's the killer. If you think too much about perfection, you're always going to get frustrated with the drawing. But like with this muddy up technique and with the simple shape technique, it turns drawing into just a fun step-by-step process instead of, I need to get this perfect drawing right now. 'Cause that shit doesn't work, pal. You can't bounce on it. You can't bounce on it like we do unless you just draw for fun. So boneless, when you're ordering boneless wings, you're gonna think about me? I will. I'll think about you every time. You guys remember the boneless pizza meme? You remember how the grip that had on the internet for like like a year? Okay. Let's finalize this eye, brothers. Let's rip a little bit more detail around it, and then let's do a hard outline, or at least a slightly harder outline, on exactly where we want it to be to really bring some definition into it. And these guys have some crazy eyes. They have like a dark outer ring and then a very intense pupil. So we're going to try and mimic that as best we can by just adding a little bit of detail, a little bit of darkness underneath the eye. And then for the pupil, we're basically just drawing a circle, and we're going to lightly color that in. And I think that's good enough, so we can darken that up just a little bit. And then because these eyes are yellow, let's add just a little bit of gray washing around the whole thing to make it feel more real. And these guys are scary. They look terrifying, but it's cool. Because I think they're still like nice birds. They just sort of are gifted with the scariest look of all time. And then we can shade up that top eyebrow. Again, this eyebrow is like crazy. He has got a mean mug of a face. And then we can just sort of slowly but surely add more and more detail and more connector lines to make this guy feel just slightly more realistic. Because a lot of drawing is basically just like illusion stuff. What exactly are we bouncing on? We don't know yet. We're trying to figure that out. That's the whole point of this stream. We're trying to find what we are bouncing on. Does he have like a Discord server or something? No, I don't. But I can make one if that's fun. The only thing that's stopping me from a Discord server is we've got like 2 people. Like our community is like 5 strong. So, but if like that's something that we should start, I'm totally game. But this eye is starting to bang off, so let's start bouncing over to not that kind of bouncing. Let's jump over to some of the other details, and let's start finalizing some of the other fun stuff we're drawing. So, I feel pretty good about this whole outline, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting my money where my mouth is, and I'm going to finalize this beak line. And then that's going to come into this curve. And you see, as I'm doing all of these sort of darker outlines, I'm picking the best line, or I'm picking the line that works the most for this piece as I go. So like I'm not actually completely following the line that I just set up. I'm slowly picking a new one based on those lines that we had already drawn. And what that does is it gives you like infinite steps to be able to refine and make sure that this drawing is exactly what you want. Like nothing is ever set in stone. When you're drawing, everything should be a choice at every step of the way, right? Because if you get into this mode where it's like, okay, I have to ink this exact line, or I have to draw this exact line darker, like you run into so many more mistakes, because as you're drawing, as you're doing all of these details, you slowly realize that some lines are wrong and they need to be fixed. And it's actually incredibly easy to fix them when you're open to being able to change every single line as you go. So we're just slowly adding in more and more detail. We'll make this connection point to the fur much darker. We can have this line cascade down right into that point. We can have a little bit of that interesting fur connection points pop up and around. And look at that. Just slowly but surely outline that top beak, and it already looks so much better. You don't give me an admin role? Oh, in the Discord? Same for real, I'm an OG. Yeah, Leo. Leo's the OG, he's getting all mod powers. You just appeared out of thin air. Leo, I'm telling you, I know. 100% I know. You would wreak havoc in the Discord server? Oh my god. Alright. So everybody wants a Discord server to post horrible, horrible memes. That's great. We can make that happen. Okay. Now continuing on, let's get a solid final outline for this bottom jaw. Dude, much easier than that top jaw, because it's just going to be a swoopy line. And then this line connecting the bottom of the jaw to the top of the jaw, we don't actually need like the hardest line, because it is sort of a smooth transition into fur. So what I'm going to do is, even though this is going to be the permanent line, I'm just going to add a bunch of shading to sort of give the illusion that I drew a dark line through this spot, right? We're just tricking the eye into understanding what is, you know, a hard line and a soft line. And basically, from here, the whole rest of this drawing is going to be little bits of shading and little bits of texture. So you see how I just very lightly added a bunch of scritchy, scratchy lines right there? That gives the illusion of fur, right? Everybody's thinking, wow. Whoa, Galaxy! More birds? Yeah, we're doing more birds. Crow always asks for birds, surprisingly. Oh my god. Dude, guys, we're starting to feel like a family here, aren't we? Aren't we feeling like a family? Crow, the estranged drunk uncle, and everyone else being normal. Okay, let's do the top line outline. Let's do the neck and the top of the head as like a solid outline. So, again, I'm picking all of the best lines that I like. So that means not hard outlining what we just drew, but just changing things ever so slightly. And we have a little bit of feather sticking out here. We have a little bit of depth and a little bit of detail to add for all of these little slick back modes, right? That can even, let's add a little bit of extra right there. And then continuing on with adding just darker pencil on all of the lines that we really like, not just the last one we drew. So you can see I'm slowly picking, as all of these lines exist, but I'm choosing from my eye the best one to really make dark and to make pop. And the same thing for this front of neck into the chest. And dude, look at that. We can even bolster this line up a little bit. He's really starting to come together. Okay, now basically, we just have to do a ton of these little fun lines to give the illusion that this guy is covered in fur and hair. So, whenever you're doing texture, whenever you're doing... Wait. Drunk. Most sane and sober crow you'll ever meet. Yeah, true. Robo Guy's nickname, I suppose. So whenever you're doing texture, that's your favorite bird? Dude, Mervin. I'm glad. This was a request by YouTube chat, which is awesome. It's Crow. Crow always asks for birds. Whenever you're doing texture, whenever you're doing feathers, whenever you're doing fur, every single stroke of your pencil, every line of your pencil should follow the shape of the object that you're drawing. Do you ever make up your own stuff, like own creatures, storylines, etc.? I do. However, this whole past year, I've realized that I'm not drawing as well as I'd like to, so I've like stripped away all original character, all everything, and I'm just doing like shapes, animals, people, like just trying to figure out how to get everything mechanics-wise locked in, and then I'm going to go back to being creative with my drawing. But like I want to be able to draw this bird in like 5 minutes, like with an ink pen, like no foundation, no sketching, no whatever. I just want to be able to rip really good drawings, and then when I can do that, I can start being creative. That's like my goal of this year, is to just like have my mechanics locked in. So as we're following the shape of this guy, we're just slowly adding little scratchy lines that follow the 3D nature of this guy's head. And what that's going to do is it's going to make the viewers see all of these lines, and your brain sort of just like fills in all of the missing pieces, and you understand that it's a 3D thing instead of a 2D cartoon, right? So like with this back of the head, I'm just going to follow the shape of this head, right? Going into the cheek, I'm keeping all of these pencil strokes the same direction. And then when we get to about here, I'm going to use this direction to slowly get that plane shift conveyed. And then up by the eye, it's also going to switch. You see that? You see how there's like we're just slowly switching all of the directions, so then when you're looking at this piece, you can see that his fur is cascading over the top of his head into these little furls. His eyebrow is sort of building into that. His cheek is building into the back of his head, and then the back of his head is building into his neck. So the same thing with this neck. I'm going to keep all of these lines the same sort of direction, which is badass, which is great and cool. And then for this part, we're going to change direction again and slowly just add all of these lines and this color wash to make sure it reads like this neck is cascading down into a body. Does that make sense? Is everyone vibing on that? And we can even do some like extra lines just on top to really convey that motion. But like pencil stroke, time for food, catch you next time. Alright, see ya. So no sketch drawings, that's fun. I usually forget pencil, so like instead of doing sketch inking and random characters. Oh, sweet. Count me in. Wait, what are we counting in? Y'all want to do Inktober? Whoa! Inktober would be sick. It's barely February. Yeah, true. We could do we could start our own ink month. What if we just, you know, Inktober is for everybody else and we can just have our own little ink arch. Maybe March doesn't work too well. Inkpril? We could do Inkpril? Would that be fun? Okay. Anyways, now that we have all of this gray washing, let's do the beak as well, but much lighter because we don't want this beak to read the same as the feathers. So I'm just going to throw in a little bit of color into this beak. And this is going to make whatever details we add later much easier. So we're just going to rip through there with just a very light dusting of pencil. Again, following the direction, following everything like that. And now, basically, we can start doing some finer details. So this guy does have nostrils. So we'll throw in just a slightly darker indication for a nostril. And then we can even throw in a little bit of shading around that to make it feel like it's, you know, really inset into that or into that beak, right? You see how I did that? And then from here, we can just focus on shading and detail and really figuring out how to make this guy pop. So I'm going to add a little bit of a ridge to his beak there. We can add a little bit of an indication that this curved spot is probably harder so he can break into stuff to eat it. We are going to add shading and a shadow cast by his top jaw, on jaw. And then from here, basically, we can just add a little bit of texture everywhere on this beak to make it just slightly more interesting. And then, basically, that's the drawing. That's the bird. That's the shoebill. And what you can do for fun, check out this new batch. Whoa, mama. That's like a brand new pack of cigarettes. We can take a very soft pencil, like a 6B, and what we can do with this is we can start really adding some dark lines. So you see how much darker this pencil line is than that previous pencil? And I can just go through and add really dark lines wherever I think they're needed. So like up in the shadow parts, wherever we're really getting into some of the darker tones, we can just slowly but surely add all of these really cool dark lines, and it makes your drawing pop. Makes your drawing pop like crazy. And so of course we're going to go around the eye with this, and the pupil. Maybe a little bit of the eyebrow gets this addition. Maybe some of the eye details. Dude, look at this. Look at that. What a handsome, handsome guy. Let's do some darker tones throughout here. Let's add in a little bit of shadow underneath his lip or his top beak. Maybe he's got darkness right at the tip. Whoa, mama. Hello. We can add in a little bit of darkness for some of his fur as well. And then we can even shade underneath his chin. Guys, I think we're winning. I think we're winning like hard style. We can even add in a little bit of darkness and a little bit of fur texture up and around in random spots. Look at that! Guys! Hard style. That's what I'm talking about, say. That's true indeed. Chaos has to be in here somewhere. Handsome little birds? Dude, he is. Whoa, Archie Young! How are you? Bro's trying to explain to us his drawing process while we're goofing around. That's the best. Those are good pencils. Thank you, Archie. They are Faber-Castells. They rip. Okay. Look at, dude, I'm legitimately very proud of this little guy. We can finish this drawing off with just a little neckline. And look at him. Hard style, bro. We can do hard style. Easy. Cinema. Absolute cinema. We'll add shoe bill. What a nice little morning drawing. Looks neat. Thank you. Thank you very much. But, like, as we all know, as we've been sitting here, this is all, oh, thanks for the follow. These were all just simple shapes. We just drew a circle here, a big oval here, a big curvy rectangle, and then we slowly etched in more and more detail as we went. And then all of a sudden, we now have this very handsome, handsome shoebill bird. Absolutely prehistoric. And you can take this as far as you want. You can do as much or as little detail as you want. If you want to do highlights places, if you want to play around with different ideas, if you want to add like special, I don't even know what to call it. If you want to add some flair and make this guy like more cartoony or whatever, you can. But as long as you start with those simple shapes and then work your way through it, dude, you're done. That's all you need. Morning drawing, bro. I'm about to go to sleep. Whoa, Leo, you're halfway across the globe. Make him do a front facing while he's ominously staring at camera. Oh, now we're talking. That's a good idea. I'll write that down as a note. But, y'all, I hate to say it. Well, I guess we have some more time. We can chill for a little bit more, but we're about to end. We did one solid drawing that took, what, 40 minutes? That flew by. Holy smokes. What's everyone got planned for today? Anybody chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool? Here, I'll show you guys the reference. Let me see how easy this is. Nice. This is the reference image that I was using the whole time. So we can see this guy, pretty solid, on my second monitor, and then check this out. Bang! Look at that! Isn't that sick? This guy turns to this guy. See, there's some creative liberty there. There's some, like, little changes. Is that a spoonbill? Oh, what's up, Quartz? It is a shoebill. Not a spoonbill, but close. I bet a ton of people call these spoonbills. A Discord would be cool. Dude, I can get on that. I can make that happen. But yeah, Quartz, you just missed it. We did this whole demo. And we did it basically the same thing that you've always seen me do, which is start with simple shapes, slowly grind through detail, chill, max, relax, be cool, have fun. We also, check this out, on my stream, I got all the chats ripping. Here, wait a second. TikTok's been out of the game this whole time. Look at this. This is what you guys are missing. We're chilling with a big community. It's massive. The fastest growing streamer on Twitch right now, doing art. Anyways, I'm gonna hop off. See you on next stream. Dude, thanks for hanging. Hiya, suckers. Hey, TikTok, everyone's calling you a sucker. So, you might want to hop on YouTube or Twitch. That's all I'm gonna say. So what did you think about doing a Discord? I will think about it. I can probably maybe set it up today if it happens, and then next stream we can talk about joining. They didn't see it. That's okay. I told them. I told them verbatim that you think they're suckers. Oh, bother. Yeah. Dude, let's rip it. Okay, what do we do? Let's think. You know what? TikTok stream, I'm out of here. Goodbye. Alright, everybody, I'm going to do my outro. This is me. Thanks for watching. Follow if you can. That's sick. We do these drawings every single day. Isn't that nice? Isn't he handsome? Doesn't he make you want to go buck wild and rob a bank? Alright, goodbye. Dude. Sick. Dude, awesome. TikTok live. Great. It went well. Okay. What do we do? Now it's just us. Now we're just hanging. We've got Archie Young says wait. What do you got? What do you got, Archie Young? You like that one, Quartz? What time do you stream mostly? Usually, it's like in the window of 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific time. But on weekends, I like to hit morning streams because a lot of you are like in crazy parts of the world, where my later streams are like 1 a.m. for you guys. So, mornings on weekends if I can, and then evenings on weekdays, if that makes sense. But thanks for asking. I should probably put that somewhere on a page. It's just tough because I'll have these sweet strings, I'll have these streaks of daily streaming, and then all of a sudden I'm the busiest of all time, and I just like can't even. I'm like working until dinner, and then after dinner I'm doing more work, and then I'm going to bed. So it's like we try our best. But honestly, time zones suck, I know. But in all honesty, seeing so many people in chat is filling me with motivation. Ton of work, I know. Ton of work. I'm the busiest I've ever been in my entire life. And it sucks. You know what I want to do? I want to sit and I want to watch TV every day. That would be the dream. If I could get paid for that. Or honestly, I mean, if I could get paid for this, that would also be really cool. But I don't think that's. I think that's a little bit of a pipe dream. Let's do. Let me check my phone. All right, pal? Let me check my little notifications on stream. And then let me figure out. Let me figure something out. Because if we have enough time, I'll do one speed run. So you get more. Make long vids so you get more views and you get rich. Whoa, is that how that works? I could do something like that. I could just post the VODs of these and let people listen to me talk about nothing for an hour. Would I get rich off of that? Okay. Let's see. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Estimated 11 of boar. You know what? I don't think we have enough time for a Minecraft speedrun. Give you 50%? I could do that. Discord idea is a good one. Okay. Alright. Okay. Okay. I'll write it down. I'll write the shit down. Then you guys can post your own art too. Of all the total earnings I get, even like my job, you get 50% of my job too? Holy hell. Yes? Oh, God. Crow, you drive a hard bargain, but I'm in. We can make that happen. You can link it to your YouTube desk too. Oh, very, very cool. Very, very cool. Because I'm also the star of the chat. You really are. You know what's sad? We haven't seen Bloom in like days. Beats of Pal Bread, good night. Thank you. Good night. Have you been here the whole time? Well, I'm gonna go finish my cliff jumper in a maid outfit. Galaxy, that is a great idea. Star of chat, true. Hey, we all want to be stars. And Crow's hitting it. Okay. Whoa. I just checked my. I have my YouTube studio going so I can see the. That darn flower is scared and I kind of miss him. Dude, me too. I think he's also very, very busy or something. Because one time he came into my chat and he was like, dude, I've been missing every single stream because I'm working nights now or something. So I think he's just. I think he's just getting screwed over. My YouTube stream on my end is incredibly behind. But obviously you guys are talking to me live, so you're not watching that. But in this, on my screen, we're way back at like simple shapes of this drawing, which is crazy. Okay, y'all. It's been an hour. I've got some stuff to do. Might have to go pick someone up from the airport. We'll see what happens. Also, Super Bowl. We haven't even talked about Super Bowl. What the hell? Is anyone even going to watch that? I don't even know if I'm going to watch that. Okay. Everyone, This has been an absolute pleasure. It's been such a fun stream. I love all of the texts. I love all of the comments. It's really, really fun. We had people in Twitch. We had people watching on twitch.tv, which is badass. That never happens. What even is a Super Bowl? It's like this really big, 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 big portion of soup. That's all it is. And it's just like a camera mounted, and it just looks at the soup. And it's not even warm. It's like room temp. I'm gonna watch the whole thing. Oh, I am? Dude, sick. I'm gonna try. I would love to see some of it, but we don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to. Also, they always put it behind like 14 different paywalls if you want to stream it, which is so annoying. Okay, I'm rambling. I am out of here. Guys, this has been incredible. Thank you very much. I'll see you hopefully tomorrow, probably in the evening of Pacific time. Easy money. Time to fish in my Calc 1. Bye-bye. Goodbye. Okay, thanks, bye. Bye-bye. Can't wait for next art stream. Bye-bye. Me neither. Bye.